What? Who's
I
dark?
ain't dark as the one, and I ain't dark as the one in Jamon. I don't need the spotlight.
Okay, I didn't get that.
Why
I
are
need
we-
the spotlight.
I don't need the spotlight. Them dudes is dark. They need a spotlight. They need the
Why
little
are we talking about pigmentation?
I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the
bro,
podcast.
bro, you can't be over here color shaming people.
Color shaming.
That's called production. You got to have a light for y'all darker skinned brothers. That's it. That's all it is production.
You're right.
You color shaming.
Nah, I didn't say it was a bad thing. I said they needed a light.
Brothers, we back at it with another episode, man. How's everybody been?
Good. Blessed, man.
All good, man. Happy to be back.
Okay. We down to brother. You know what I'm saying? P ain't here today, man. He's engaging in some family activities, taking care of the young life for the birthday. But we got a substitute,
And a substitute. He a member.
Right. I'm in the clan.
I'm gonna introduce my brother, my LB to the party. You know what I'm saying? Jamon Woodley. Jamon, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do. Give him your perspective intro.
Yeah, for sure. Name's Jamon, also known one and a half of the Woodley Wanderers. Wife and I are world travelers. We go to a different city or country every single month. We're blessed to be able to do just that, and we figured out a way how to do it. We didn't have kids up front, so we did the planning thing first. But now we have a 4-month-old, and we just doing domestic trips as of now. But soon enough, we're gonna be taking her around the world as well. So yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, all right, okay, that's what's up, brother. So hold on, you say you and your wife take a trip once a month?
Once a month, different city, a different country, every single month.
How long y'all been doing that for?
48 months in a row, and then COVID hit, and it kind of ruined the streak. But we were going strong 48 months straight.
48 months straight.
48 months in a row, bro. Yeah.
Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy that you guys were able to travel in that way. We're gonna get into that, man, because that's interesting. I've never known anyone to travel in the way that you and your wife travel, the way that you and Mo travel. Y'all been everywhere. Again, you guys can follow them on Woodley Wanderers on Instagram, on YouTube. They have a YouTube. And do you guys have a Facebook as well?
Yeah, we got a Facebook, Woodley Wanderers as well. Yeah.
Okay, and on Facebook, right?
Facebook too.
And it chronicles their travels, some of the places they've been, their experiences, things like that. But before we kind of get into all the places that you guys have been to, what are some of the values that you guys notice in traveling? And Jamon, you're the expert in traveling here, so we'll let you kick that off first. What are some of the values you see in traveling?
You talking about benefits?
What's that?
Value? Yeah,
benefits.
Benefits, values.
Little the same, little both of the same benefits, values. I guess for starters, I would say it gives you the value of education, because when you go to a different land or meet a different tribe or a different kind of culture, you're learning. And it's one of the best forms of education to me personally, because these are things that you can't be taught in the school. You're going to be taught during experience, during the engagement through this particular environment or community. So education is one. Second, I would say, would be that it literally teaches you not to hate. That's what actually one of the biggest values that I've gotten so far traveling around the world is it literally teaches you not to hate. If you can see through the man with their eyes and their perspective in life, because you walk through their shoes, talk through their sets of eyes, and therefore you kind of look at the world a little different. You get different perspective. So that's the biggest takeaway that I've gotten so far traveling around the world, is it teaches you not to hate. Big thing.
Yeah,
I love that.
Especially right now, just with everything that we got going on in the world. And I know we're going to tear into it at some point in time. That's not a perspective I don't even think people would have picked up on in travel. So I think that's huge because you really just think about all the things you're hearing in the world and why it would be scary to travel at this point in time, or why everybody is against each other. So that's big.
But Tab, isn't that part of the problem though? Isn't that part of the propaganda though? Why some people don't travel? I mean, if you're talking about traveling abroad, even some places here, in the United States, right? I think that sometimes, and particularly in the black community, we may not travel places because when we see the news, we see a lot of racial discrimination towards people that look like us around the world. So then we're not wanted. So why go places do you not want that? I obviously could be a myth, but I think sometimes that stereotype, those stereotypes in the propaganda that the U.S. wants to make everybody feel like it's the safest place, it's the best place to be. Bring us your money. Don't take your money to all those other places. So I think sometimes that's kind of the role that it's set up to guide as if, hey, it's not safe to go anywhere else.
Or even just traveling in like the resorts. A lot of us are just like, oh, we only going to go to resorts. I don't think it's safe. I know we're going to tear into it, but hopefully he gets into that too. How many times did he travel to all these places that he went to outside of resort setting? Because I know it had to be a significant amount of times, and I like to hear the insight on that too.
Absolutely. Actually, the majority of our travels or lodging experience was Airbnbs, mainly because I'll take two reasons. One, it's cheaper. Save a lot more money when you travel through Airbnb. But secondly, you live like a local and you experience that village, that location as a local. Complete different perspective, completely different outlook when you live like the person at that particular community. So resorts, we go to Caribbean and stuff like that, all Mexico, okay. But when you go to places like Amsterdam, you go places like Japan, China, Australia, Kenya, places like that, you won't get the full experience. So Airbnb or what's the other place called?
That Turbo,
VRBO, stuff like that.
Yeah, VRBO.
More recommended to get like a better perspective of how those people live and communicate and move.
Yeah, I think that was cool. That was like, me and my wife went to China a couple years back.
Yeah.
And when you go to China, they don't give a damn about you American. They like, we don't want your money. We don't want your language. We don't care about none of that. You live like one of us. And I think that was like one of the best trips I've ever been. I've been to the Caribbean. I've been to Jamaica, the Bahamas, all that kind of stuff before. But it was one of the best trips because it was like, you got to get in where you fit in.
Right.
You got to get you some Google. You got to get you some Google Translate. You got to get some of these, what I'm saying? It's different currency. And you got to eat this food. You know what I'm saying? So that was a really great experience for me and my wife. And my sister-in-law came and my mother-in-law came. And we all had a great time because it was like, this is just different. And it was cool. And, people looked at us different because they don't really see Black Americans. They see Africans. They don't see Black Americans.
Yeah.
They see Africans. So that was a really, really cool trip. But like you said, educational wise as well. And we lived in just an apartment. We did some 4 or 5 star resort stuff too. But we also, when we were in Shanghai, we lived in an apartment. So it was like, you see why they leave their shoes outside. You know what I'm saying? Right. Even in China, they do some stuff that I've never seen before, right? So they had the babies that are like potty training. They have a slit in their pajamas or diapers, and they let them go to the bathroom on the ground. And then the people just let it, and they just keep walking. So they just keep walking and let it ride. Yeah, and that's why they leave their shoes outside because the streets and everything is so dirty. Because that's just culturally how they do. And then another thing I know was, parents go to work and do all that. They have a lot of like nannies and grandparents all around. And they take care of the kids during the day. So grannies and nannies let them just pee and poop on the street, wherever, and just keep it moving. So we was like, what is going on? This is not allowed. But over there, you got to get in when you fit in. You got to watch where you walk. You got to do all that kind of stuff, bro. So it was an amazing trip. That was one of my favorite trips I've ever been on.
Oh, nice. I like that. One of the things that I noticed from China that was kind of off-putting or just different is, over here in the States where a lady, cough a loogie and spit, it's like, ooh, come on now, slow it down. You're a lady. But over there in China, they all do it in front of you. I mean, like big loogies, like, you know what I mean? And it's totally fine. It's completely cool, But here in the States, it's like, ugh, nasty, Over there, like you said, it is what it is, So cultural differences. It's interesting to see once you're there, though.
Yeah, but and another thing, people were like, it's not safe. Bro, that was the safest place I ever been. I seen people walking at 1, 2 in the morning, getting off the train with 50 million people, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, everything because they're under such high surveillance, right? They had like one murder. We went in, it was like June and July. They had one murder in China during that whole time, that whole year. Because you do something over there, you're going under the jail. It ain't no 1, 2, 3 strikes under the jail. So it's a really, really safe environment, even for us as Americans.
I agree.
Like I was saying, I think that's just the biggest misconception about it. And I know we got to get to this at some point. This is why you got this whole Brittany Griner situation. That's going to just put more fear in a lot of us. You know, I mean, we already have the war going on with Ukraine and Russia, right? We don't know where people are going to flee to become refugees or to seek refuge in any type of way, right? Will it be France? Will it be anywhere, any of these places? We don't know who's allies with who and where people are getting filtered to. So, you know, you always got to worry about not only who's coming into the country that may be, you know, a victim or looking for that, but who's also coming into the country that is with it, for lack of a better term, right? That's actually going to cause some disruption to that country.
With the shit.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, in your experience, we're talking about it. We're going through TSA. You got something in your bag. Maybe you got some weed or something because Cali is cool and you're catching your flight to, you know, Russia or wherever the case you may be. What are the do's and don'ts of traveling through TSA that we really, really take for granted that you need to be aware of when you go into different countries?
You better get TSA Global. I know that's for sure.
Right. That's a fact. You travel a lot. Yeah. TSA Global is actually a really good thing because one, you get to kind of avoid a lot of that. Because when you have the TSA Global ordeal, they look at you different. Kind of like being like first class.
VIP,
a certain kind of way. VIP, exactly. Treat certain kind of way. So in order to get through the lanes and lines and things of that nature, or pat downs, the global stuff, they don't have none of that. It's almost kind of the same as the regular TSA domestic, but in a global where you do that in different countries, which is pretty cool.
So I'm saying, is that like through customs too, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's for customs. It's for to get you through customs. I think it's kind of like, you think about it, like one of the benefits of having a gun license, particularly here in Texas, is the police know that you're not a criminal. So when they pull you over, they know you're not a criminal. The same thing with TSA. You got to go through you know, that security clearance. In some cases, you got to go through the interview just to get the TSA Global. Now, in their mind, oh, this person is not a criminal, so we don't need to be as cautious on them. And again, while everybody else is standing in that line with 300, not 300, that's over exaggeration, with 30, 40 people in a line trying to get through customs, you go up there, do your thing, put your number in, all that, and you go on through it. So I think that's a benefit for people who are not even thinking about, who want to travel a lot, get, you know, TSA. And if you have an American Express card, for people who have American Express card, American Express pays for it for you, so it's free through your American Express.
You got to say which one. You got like a black card. You can't just say American Express.
I mean, I thought it was all of them, but I know it's on the gold and the platinum for sure.
Okay, I didn't know that. It's actually expensive too. I mean, we got ours for $100 in the last 5 years. Do the math, $20 a year. So that's a bit of a no-brainer.
I'm gonna circle back to it again, just based on your travel experience, because I don't know. I look at this Brittany Griner situation. That's true. She may not be a star or a household name.
Hold on. Before you go to that, the thing about her, I think she was flying private a lot. Like, so she played for that team, and the dude that runs that Russian team is like super duper rich, bro. So I think she's normally, like, when she's over there, I think she's flying private. And I don't know how she got caught up this time, but normally when she's there, I think she flies private, bro.
Yeah, because that's what I was getting. What was my next point that I was trying to get into? It's like, I would think somebody of her magnitude, right? I mean, she might not make a lot of money as a WNBA basketball player in their salary structure. She's getting $5-10 million a year to play basketball. So I guess what I'm saying is that, how does someone like that, how does that happen to someone like her? Is it she didn't have pre-check, in your opinion? Are there things that people aren't aware of that you are going to get checked for? Or even if you don't have pre-check, right? Okay, that's a luxury that you guys have that other people might not. What is it that they need to be aware of when they're traveling through regular TSA that we don't even think about here? Because like I said, there's so many pieces to her situation that we don't know about. I kind of want to just see if you could, you know, shed some light on that from a general perspective of those that travel pre-check or not. This is the difference between the two and what you should be thinking about or worried about.
Yeah. So I guess the name of the game is never, ever, ever take propaganda. Period. Whether you have it in your back pocket or you did it before you left, just don't put yourself in that predicament. For one, two, I would say is most people or most other countries, they do things different. So every country has their own rules and so forth, right? So you're thinking over here, hey, if I go to London and I do the TSA Global, I'm just fine. But if I do from here to Russia, it's a whole different environment. So the way they look at things is completely different. So you got to keep in mind of that. Now, as a universal code, I would just say, one, like I mentioned, don't bring anything that you think that you might get tackled for, bodied or something like that, So, yeah, I mean, that's really all I got. Really, just don't bring nothing. Don't put yourself in a predicament where you can get got. Whether you are famous, got cash in your pocket or not. Every country does things differently.
She got caught slipping. That's mainly what it is. She got caught slipping. I think she should have been, should have been a little smarter situation. But I mean, she had like, what was that?
A vape pen.
Yeah. So I mean, she didn't get caught with like weed or nothing, but it's still like you got to be smarter in the situation. But like I said, I think she's just so used to flying private because the dude that ran that team is like super duper rich.
Mm-hmm.
But
maybe it was weed, a vape pen. I mean, it could be anything in there. You never know.
Yeah,
I think. Speaking about that, Jamon, I think there's a level of entitlement that we have to be mindful of when traveling. I mean, here in this country, I think that people are used to things handling and being done a certain type of way and arguing, being able to argue with police and officials and all that type of stuff. And just feeling like, hey, well, if I can sneak this in or I can do what I want to do because I'm in another country, I'm from big bad America. And it ain't like that, man. They don't lock your butt in jail and you be stuck there. I don't care where you from. Just be respectful regardless of wherever you travel. I think be respectful of the culture, the people, the customs, be respectful of that. Having Google Translate and being able to try to communicate with people, the same way that you will want somebody when they're here to be able to respect and understand and appreciate your language. Try to, let them feel like you're trying to learn and, understand, being graceful and saying thank you and please and all that type of stuff. Sometimes things that we take for granted here, we should do there. I think one of the biggest values for me, I travel with my family. So it's myself, the wife and the kid, and we travel and we try to go, different places to try to make sure the kid got some stamps on the passport and things of that nature. I think it's just exposure to different cultures. Recently we were just in Mexico and, being able to just get out and walk around and see the culture and see the people and see the country in its purity, right? Not what you see on the news or what you hear, but in itself and see how beautiful it is and things of that nature. And for my son to be able to see that culture and talk to or try to, have the people at the hotel or the resort speaking Spanish to him and trying to teach him Spanish and things of that nature. I think those are the things to me that gives it traveling, abroad a sense of value, is because you get to experience other cultures within their culture as it is in its purity, not kind of broken down and Americanized, but as it stands with the history and the 100 years of decades of of their value system. I love it.
Mm-hmm. The raw experience.
Yeah, like I said, that was some of the best things. Even like when we went to Jamaica, we sat on the resort a lot. Me and my wife got married in Jamaica, but like when you leave the resort, it ain't the same. It's not. It don't look like Fantasyland. It's one of those places like we seen the regime or whatever you want to call them out there just riding. Like they tell you don't wear no fatigue out there. You know what I'm saying? Like don't wear fatigue because they think they might be the ops, right? So even just like leaving the resort and going places or going like to Duns River Falls and all that kind of stuff, just the places that you stop at just to get gas or get a like the first time I ever had a it's not an empanada. What's the Jamaican term for that?
Jamaican patty.
Jamaican patty was just like at a regular gas station, right? That wasn't at the resort. That was just at a gas station that we was just on the way somewhere. And I was like, damn, this is amazing. We need some of these at the house. Right? So just that kind of experience, or eating jerk chicken off the street. Like they just making jerk chicken on the street instead of the resort food is totally different. And that experience is different. And just talking to the locals, because even in Jamaica, bro, I just say the people got it bad out there, but they got so much spirit, so much pride, so much joy, so much laughter and whatever. They built different over there. You know what I'm saying? So that was an amazing trip too.
But I think you learn too a lot from traveling there. Like, I mean, I feel as a country in America, it's what you got, what you have, and people really, really, for the majority of that, making that seem like that's the standard on how you live, how you travel, and everything like that. It is nice when you go to other countries and stuff like that, and you realize like you don't gotta be Gucci down, you don't gotta be in your ones, you ain't gotta have on this or that. Like you can literally, some of the joy, like you said, is just really rocking in the street, whether it's $1 in your pocket or not. All right, we don't even know if they got $1 in their pocket. We just assuming that because there's a certain way that things flow in America, that if you present yourself a certain way like them, that they're not rich or wealthy. But a lot of these people are wealthy in heart, wealthy, maybe wealthy in the pocket as well too. They just celebrate their winnings and their earnings a lot different than we do. You know what I mean? I don't have as many stamps in the passport, I think, as everybody else. But at the same time, when I am going places, I'm looking at that and I'm noticing like, damn, they just happy. Like they just live a good life. They ain't worried about having to go out here and make this money and do these things and stuff like that and get into the hustle and bustle we do. They actually enjoying the time they spending, or at least they make it look enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's that kind of the culture where here in the States we work to live, but in other places in the world they live to work. Just like I said, in that exact same manner. For example, in Europe, you know, during the day sometimes, in a particular period of I want to say in the springtime, they close up shop early. So, for example, it'd be like 1:00 on a Tuesday, and they'll shut it down just to go home or have lunch or run errands and do that nature. And then they'll come back at 5:00 and open up again, and then continue on for another 2 hours, and then go back to home for like 2 hours. So
what they call it, the siesta or something like that.
Yeah. Some similar to that. So it's completely different mindset and culture, how they see things, how they see life in general, when you're different parts of the world.
Or just how, you know, remember when Jamon, when we was in DR. When we was in the Dominican and they had the rolling blackouts, right? The power will be off, you know, certain times of day, like just what people are doing to preserve energy in other countries that people are not accustomed to. Be like, man, what the hell is going on? AC, but you know, in their mind, everybody's fine, everything's good. We over here, these pampered ass Americans, you know, we struggling.
Hey, I didn't even know they was doing. I didn't know they was doing that when we was there.
I don't remember. I think think they did it because when we was there, we was on a resort. You know,
no, I'm just saying in general, like just, I mean, you know, we went off the resort, but I really didn't know they were doing that, bro.
Yeah, but when the time that that Jamon and I and the rest of my OBs
when y'all went back.
Okay, we went to an area called San Domingo.
We was amongst the people. We was you know, we went on a resort. We was in an
Airbnb.
Yeah, we was amongst the people, right? And and we was able to experience that. But I think that gets into what are some of the myths that you guys feel that people have about traveling. And I'm not even just talking about traveling abroad. I think that, you know, we're going to focus on abroad, but I think that sometimes in some cases, if you really think about it, there's a lot of people who've never left their state, who never left their side of town. They've never been and seen other cultures within their country, right? They've from the West Coast, never been to the South, never been to the Northeast, never been, you know, to the specific Northwest. They've only been to that place where they're from. So they're not seeing the different customs and cultures of other places around the world, I mean, around their country. So what do you guys think some of the myths are about traveling in general? And it could be about abroad or it could be locally, but what do you guys think some of the myths are?
Money, 100%. They think it's expensive. They think they can't afford it. That's the biggest one that I get the most. Like people ask, yo, how do you do it? How can you travel 48 months in a row? Like, what are you doing? You know?
I was trying to wonder that right now for you because it was different when you was doing it before. Now you got a baby and all of these things. Like, where do you get your money from? Now, to the fact,
multiple sources of income for one.
Whatever you say, I'm not going to write a report about it because I'm not at work. But I need to know if it's something that I, you know, if I could possibly get into legally.
A couple of things. One, dual income helps. You know, having a partner with a decent sized income helps. But the biggest thing kind of for us that enables us to travel is our Airbnb business. We use majority of our Airbnb business for our lifestyle. And the money that we use for our jobs or our careers, I'm a financial advisor by day, and my wife is a high school principal by day. But the money that we use for traveling is our side business, which is Airbnb. And that money alone is really set aside for our lifestyle. And our lifestyle is traveling the world. So that's how we're able to do it, how we're able to do it. We actually built 2 little guest houses in our backyard just for Airbnb. I mean, y'all seen them when y'all came to LA.
I did.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know we talking about travel, but can you expand on that for a minute? Because it's tax season time.
Yeah.
There's probably some lingering PPE money still out there for the smart ones, right? The ones that was
Yeah.
smart, that wasn't doing whatever they did. Let's just leave it at that. But you talk about, because you live in California, right?
Mhm.
So due to the fact that you live in California, a lot of us will look at it like, ain't no way I can be adding additional units to my home, or it's too expensive, this and that. You guys said you're on dual income, but just break that down for a couple people really quickly so that people know it's not as hard to do. Because I have been to your house, I've stayed there before, and I've watched your hustle and how it works. And I mean, it's not necessarily the hardest thing in the world, and it's a beautiful thing y'all got going on over there.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Appreciate that. So, yeah, for those who don't have let's say a house in themselves or back houses, but if you do have a home with an extra bedroom, you're in business. I mean, literally, you're in business. That's all it needs. That's all you need to start some extra income in order to, travel. That's kind of how we started. Before we built our guest houses, we just used our bedrooms. We have a couple of rooms that we had here with just my wife and I. Like I said, we started late having kids, so it was just a 5-bedroom house just to ourselves. So we used the extra bedrooms as leverage to get additional income in order to travel. So for the average person who just have a 2-bedroom and they're living alone and they want to travel, they can just use 1 bedroom for Airbnb as a side hustle just to make extra money to travel the world. You don't need a lot of money. Like, you really don't. There's websites like Momondo.com that we use a lot that gives us the ability to travel for a lot less than most people think. And we do tricks and tips as well. When you travel, we don't pay for bags, don't pay for seats, things of that nature to save on costs. It also helps in the long run as far as traveling. Everything helps when you cut in cost. But for starters, I think Airbnb is like a huge way of making additional income when you don't have much, but you have a spare bedroom to do so.
Yeah. Talk about the points, Dewan, because we've been talking about points like for the last 6 months. Talk about the points, bro. Point system on credit cards.
Oh yeah, I think paying attention to the credit cards that you use and how you spend your money. I mean, you're gonna pay bills, right? If you got a job and you live and you have a home and you have a space, you're gonna pay bills. So then why not pay your bills using a credit card that's gonna maximize your points, And what I mean by points is for every dollar you spend on that credit card, it gives you a certain amount of points that you can use. Some cards are cashback, meaning like for every $1,000 or so you spend, you get $10 or some cash back. Now think about it, add it up. Think about how much money you spend in bills a month. So if you spending 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bands a month, and you get $10 cash back every 1,000 you spend, you get about $70 a month. You add that up after a couple months, that pays for a trip, that pays for a flight.
Yep.
Certain credit cards, I know with American Express and Southwest particularly, they have offers where for your first like 10,000 you spend, in 3 months, you get like 100,000 plus points, which people not realizing 100,000 points, man, that's like 5 nights in a hotel, right? That's like 2 plane tickets, right? And so I think looking at your credit cards and how you spend and figuring out how to incorporate that. For me personally, I have personal credit cards and I have business credit cards. And with my business, I use my business credit card accounts to pay all my business expenses, which then gives me points for my business account. And then my personal the same way, right?
Smart.
Same way, incorporated. And then my wife, she has, we have our own credit cards too that we share. And we bring and a lot of them are with American Express. So we bring all those points and bring them together. So, we end up having a lot of points, which we are able to use to travel and things of that nature when we want to. I think people, should definitely look into credit card use as a means of traveling because again, just say, okay, with another plus, American Express about to owe me some money because I'm plugging in. American Express gives you a $200 hotel credit every year, which, okay, that's not, for a lot of people, that's not much, but think about it, that's $200. That's free 2 nights. If you stand at a Holiday Inn, $100 a night, that's 2 nights free that you're getting a year just because you're with them. They give you a $200 airline credit. So having the credit cards do benefit you when it comes to traveling. And I think a myth in that is that people are afraid sometimes to have a business that, where, okay, sometimes when I'm having a business, well, my business and I'm traveling, I'm going to set up a meeting in that place where I'm going. I'm going to go to California, or I'm going to go to New York.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a meeting there, and now I can write that off. So you also able to travel, right? And it benefits your business. So I think figuring out how to do that for a lot of people can. But one of the myths too that I think, other than money, that people have about traveling is just just the fear of the unknown, right? And not even the sense of safety, but just the fear of what they're going to experience. And I think a lot of people can get put in the boxes. I think the world benefits from us being limited in our thinking and our ability to explore, right? Rich people say,
go ahead. I was going to say that's the best part of traveling is the unknown. Like, bro,
Exactly.
when we going to Jamaica, Dominican, China, all in places, bro, that's the best thing about going in places because we don't know what we getting into. We don't know what we're gonna be eating day to day. We don't know who we're gonna come in contact with. I didn't know I was gonna get on the bullet train. The bullet train took me from my hotel to the airport in China in like 10 minutes when it's like a 45-minute drive. I ain't never been on nothing that fast before. So like stuff like that, it's the unknown, but that's the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, but I say the only issue is that one of either you or your partner is going to be tripping about things like that, right? Because of the simple fact that it's y'all traveling out of the country, it's scary, things like that. Like that, the unknown sometimes I think is cool. When we traveling as a group of dudes, we don't really care. But I say the traveling with just your spouse or your significant other, it do get tricky. Because I was going to ask him, have y'all ran into, with all of these countries y'all didn't ran into, you ain't never almost ran into no locked up abroad situation? Or it was like, it got tricky real quick. I mean, because the amount of traveling you're doing based on the amount of fear that's in the Black community alone, or the mind of others, not even the Black community, just people in general, right? Mm-hmm. They probably have some level of like, ooh, I'd be
being nervous, skeptical. But I mean, we do that you do that when you go to the suburbs, right? You do that when you go to what they call the outside of town. So you do that in general in your day-to-day life.
You could, but I'm saying though, with the amount of travel he did, I want to know if he ever ran into that situation because he's traveling so much, and based on the amount of fear that I think comes along with the minds of people in traveling, he gotta have seen something.
Yeah. You kind of hit something because when you travel with your partner, your queen, or whoever may be your partner, you move different compared to just moving with just the fellas and the homies. You move different. The case in point, we did Thailand for the first time.
You about to talk about Thailand? I'm about to ask you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll share this story. All right. So Thailand for the first time, it's probably about 11 of us that went, and 11 brothers, right? And we got into this huge brawl in Thailand. Huge. And this is the first time where I thought I might be going to jail on some locked up broad shit, right? So we in Thailand, right? We go to this place called Nana Plaza. Well, the Nana Plaza is kind of the place where, if you guys ever seen the Hangover movie, they filmed it there, where they're kind of going through the nightlife and they're going bar to bar, they're partying.
The Lady Boys type stuff?
That area, yeah. Well, Lady Boys all over, but that area, so to speak. Now, we're in this particular plaza, we're going to bar. And we at one bar, and my boy was like, all right, cool. Let's get some drinks. Let's get some water, whatever it may be. He orders a bottle of water. And when the bottle of water gets there, the group of us is like, all right, cool, we're ready to go to the next spot. So the lady, the manager, was like, you order, you buy. And my boy's like, nah, like, I didn't even open it yet. Like, I don't want it. Like, here you go. I was like, no. You order, you buy. He's like, look, lady, I didn't order it. I didn't open it. I'm leaving. Kick rocks. He leaves. Now, when he leaves, she follows him. And now they're outside the establishment. But when she leaves, her whole entire team of employees leave with her. It's about a good 15 of them. There's about 11 of us at the time. Now, we see our boy in trouble. He kind of like going back and forth. And they like line up. Like, I kid you not, they line up like kind of behind her, like in a line. So we did the exact same thing, but across from them. So we line up. And we going back and forth arguing. And my brother was like, yo, like, it's 100 baht. Like, it's 50 cents to us. Like, here. Before he could even get the lady the money, one of the guys from behind her jumps over, punches my boy Trent in the eye. Now, at that moment, everybody went for the person in front of him. We fighting now. We throwing blows. Now, it's 11 brothers at that, right? Like, from the streets. We know how to fight. So we driving them. Take that, next. Take that, next. Right? Here's where the story goes wrong. in Thailand, they stick together. If you beating up one, well, you best believe you better beat up all. So 15 went to 20. 20 went to 25. 25 went to 30. 30 went to 50. So now the 8 of us, or 11 of us, we fighting back to back at this point. But after the fight starts matriculating, we starting to get spread apart. Now instead of 1-on-1, 2-on-1, it's 5-on-1, 10-on-1. Now my friends are starting to get bodied. They're on the ground getting stomped on, beat up, glass hit bottles on their head. Like now it's getting ugly. So I remember thinking the whole time, like, don't go to jail in Thailand. Don't go to jail in Thailand. Stick with my brother. Stick with my brother. The guys who don't know, I have an identical twin brother. Stick with my brother. So we fighting back to back. You know, on the TV, the movies, when you with your brother, you fighting back to back. That was us fighting back to back, right? So we get in the middle of the street now, and it's just us two now, because everybody's scattered, doing their own thing and fighting their own battles. So it's kind of every man for himself at this point. So we in the middle of the street now. We see this group of us kind of coming towards us, probably a good 12 of them, and just Javed and I. They're running up towards us. I'm telling my brother, like, I'm running out of juice. He's like, me too. Now, let's make a run for it. It's like, okay. So the guy runs after me, swings, I duck it, I hit him with everything I had left in me. It's like the perfect chin, like, bah. His neck kind of popped. He fell forward and hit the ground hard. At that moment, I swear to God, I thought I killed him. The way his neck popped, I thought I killed him. And the fight stopped. Like literally, when we stop and they stop, we're just looking at the guy. We're looking down, and I started stomping on him. Because like, I'm gonna get my more hits in. I start stomping on his head, right? And he starts to move. I'm like, cool, he's alive. My brother turned around and we start running. We caught these alleys and found a taxi. We got in a taxi ride closer to the hotel, because while we were in the taxi, the guy was on the phone kind of like talking, looking back. I'm like, yo, he telling on us. Like, drop, stop the car. We threw money at him. We got out the car because we didn't want to go straight to the hotel. He could tell us where our whereabouts were. Mm-hmm. So we stopped the car. We kind of like walked the rest of the way. At this point, we didn't have our phones. We didn't have no Wi-Fi. So we got to the hotel. We turned our Wi-Fi's on just so we can get in contact with other guys. And then we find out that, you know, a couple of them had to go to the hospital. And it turns out that, you know, the ones who went to the hospital, these guys followed them to the hospital. And the fight actually reoccurred. So they fighting in the hospital with these dudes. Doctors and nurses had to break the true story. Doctors and nurses had to break this thing up and end up kicking my boys out. Like, yo, y'all bringing too much noise. Get out. But luckily, the ambulance driver was like, look, I got y'all. I'm going to take you out to another hospital. Took it to somewhere else. And got him treated there. And then they end up actually, the guys who was fighting them ended up actually sticking around outside the hospital, waiting for them to come back out. But at this time, the night went up, fall went down, and the sun's starting to come up. It's like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning now, and they end dispersing. And I remember thinking, like, man, like, I could have been dead. I could have been in jail. You know, like, this, the one thing that I did not want to do was have a big brawl in a different country, because, like you said, this is a jail under the goddamn floor, under the jail type situation. This is Thailand. Like, no one wants to go to jail in Southeast Asia, especially not me. Don't speak the language and so forth. So we were lucky enough. None of us had to go to jail. I mean, someone had to get stitched up and some things of that nature, but none of us had to go to jail. So we got lucky in that respect. We had some cuts and bruises, that nature. But till this day, I'm undefeated.
Hey, so the one who's in there, you think the one would have ran or he would have fought? What you think?
He'd have fought with me. Yeah. We had some bodies in college. Yeah, he would definitely
have bodies in college. Hey, Jamon had a Freudian slip, right? Because he said it was 8 of us, which means 3 of them really wasn't fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did. I caught on to that too. I was wondering. I said, did 3 of them get slept? They non-violent.
Yeah, 3 of them wasn't around. They didn't partake. That's what it is.
That's a crazy story.
But it shows the importance of understanding the culture of where you are, right? You order something. Once you order it,
it's yours.
It's yours, right? Yeah. So whether you eat it, you don't eat it, you pay for it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that that's part of things that we come to this country and we say, well, I don't want it, take it back. And you go to IHOP or something, you say you don't want to take it back, they're gonna take it back. You complain about the food, they're gonna Can we give you something else? You go somewhere else, you complain about the food. You may have disrespected the chef, disrespected the restaurant, not understanding,
disrespected the culture,
disrespected the culture, right? So you have to understand where you're traveling and be mindful. It's not that you gotta. It's the same thing, right? Because we're not even saying about other countries. As a black man, I gotta be mindful if I'm traveling to rural America, right? You know, down the street, Texas. I got to be mindful. So it's just saying that be careful and be mindful, but please go out and experience, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know about other people's culture, about other countries, about the beauty that you will see in other people, and the ability to see the world from their lenses, and then be able to appreciate more what you have. Because unfortunately, you've been somewhere and realized that people are still running around happy, and they have less, right? They feel good. They laughing and joking, and they're resilient, going through things. So I think being mindful of that is a true value that you can get from traveling, but understanding that, you know, a lot of the things that you hear sometimes are myths about, you know, hey, you go to this place, you know, there's some beautiful places in Africa, right? What are, Jabon, in the places you've been, what are the top 5 places that you say you and your wife visited that was like, man, these were phenomenal experiences overall?
Top 5, I'd probably say Japan. I say Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, and I'm gonna throw it in there because I've been so many times. I would say Thailand. Even though I had that big ass brawl, I went back, and Thailand is probably my 5th, probably best place that I've been so far.
That man is cracking. This man have been everywhere.
Yeah,
40, we say 48 straight, right?
48 months. I was domestic and international, but total country we've been to was about 30 countries so far.
Would you say anywhere, based on kind of what you're watching on the TV and things unraveling on the news and all of that, where is it dangerous to travel? I mean, the obvious answer, Russia, you know, different things like that. But where do you say, okay, you know what, if they're going at it right now, these are the places that I feel are most impacted, that I would be weary to travel based on that?
Yeah, I probably say that. So now, like 1, Russia, but 2, I probably say in South America, like Venezuela, Bolivia, probably the 2 places I do want to go, but I know as of right now, it's a bit weary. Due to politics, it's not the best time to travel as tourists in those particular areas. It's not safe. And you know, especially for Americans, it's not the best place to go right now, because especially, you know, you can get got real easy out there right now.
Okay.
And don't be going out there walking around. Listen, guys, a lot of these countries ain't gonna mess with you, but people, please don't be going out there walking around with your off-white shoes on, your Birkin bag.
Don't do it.
Your big chains dangling.
Don't do it.
Why would you go to make a possible poor place that's poor and walk around with all this expensive, flashy stuff? They're gonna think you're rich, right?
Yep.
And although majority of people won't mess with you, right?
Yep.
The same rules apply that if you were in Chicago, right? All it takes is one, right? So just be smart, but travel and take your kids and travel, right? Especially take your kids, because they're going to grow up having a worldly view, right? I remember being embarrassed, you know, when I'm in Oklahoma State, you know, working on my degrees, and I got white classmates who are talking about the places that they've been, right? We're all in school, we all working on our doctors, right? They talk about places they've been. I ain't been to nowhere, right? I'm embarrassed, right? I'm embarrassed. They've been all around the world, bro, right? We 20, 24, 25 years old. These people have been all around the world, and I hadn't been anywhere other than, you know, I've been places, but I hadn't been out of the country to that regard. So, you know, I think that one of the things that I try to make sure I do, or my wife and I try to make sure we do, is we try to give our kid those experiences by taking them to different places. He's able to go to Mexico and ask questions, go to Jamaica. He wasn't able to ask questions in Jamaica. He was in Jamaica at 2 months old. At Jeff's wedding, actually. My son got his first stamp at 2 months old. But, you know, I think it's, you know, every time we're going to different places, he's asking those questions, things of that nature. You know, we just went swimming with the dolphins, and we went whale watching, right? We was 15 yards from whales humping in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It was getting in there, right? They was popping the cup, you know, popping their tail up and down. Nah, that's It's called
Pop
Lover's
your
Cove.
fins for a real one. Pop your
Hey,
fins for a real one.
old buddy was getting it in the water, bro. He was
Yeah.
getting it in. But
Yeah.
little stuff like that, man. I think it's good, and it's also really good for us as people because as a black people, man, we're so limited in the things we want for ourselves. We'll go spend that $1,500 on that purse or that chain or them shoes instead of taking that same $1,500 and going to Europe for 5 days. You
Yeah.
know, or
Right.
going to Canada, going to Mexico, going to the Caribbean, going to different places that you can go and take that money and realizing. I remember the first thing that you put me on, son, for traveling was it
Scott's cheap flights.
Scott's cheap flights, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you're seeing trips to Asia 450,
Yep.
right? Trips to Paris 375. Like
Yep.
those websites, get on some of those websites that you can follow. You can subscribe to their mailing link, and they can let you know when airlines are having the cheap flights to go places. And sometimes, even if it's not a place you want to go, hey, the flight to go to this place is normally 1,500. Right now, they got it for 400. Let me book it, and let me just plan for it instead of going to
Yep.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Hey, bro,
Yeah.
Vegas on a day time.
That's real. I mean, if you can get a cheap flight of 12 hours away, bro, you better do that because the cost of living in the most places is going to be cheaper than here. So like a hotel room in America is going to be more expensive than when you go into, like we said about, you going to Shanghai or you go into Greece or wherever. It's going to be just a little bit cheaper than, or even Thailand. Like Thailand's going to be super duper more cheaper than,
super cheap,
super duper more, cheaper than going to other places. Like even going, like you said, going to Vegas, you're going to spend $300 a night, bro. You could have been going crazy in
Thailand.
You could have been going crazy over there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You're going to spend $300 a night in Vegas. You can go get a room on the beach right by the water in the Dominican Republic for $75 a night, right? The flight is $400, the same it costs you to get to Vegas. So you could have went to a whole nother place, a whole nother island, right? And got some good fresh fruit. Hey, another thing too, when you go to these different countries, that produce hit different. That freshness, that freshness of the fruit and the vegetables, it hit different, right? And it makes you realize, man, like, dang, this is how I used to taste when I was a kid, right? Like, so it's just recognizing and understanding, and even for parents, like for those who don't know or who do know, I talk about a lot. My son has food allergies. So, and when I say he has he has real food allergies. So, not to say people don't have real, but he's not like just an intolerance. We got to carry EpiPen everywhere we go. His food has to be prepared and cooked by us. When we go to certain restaurants, we can only eat at restaurants that can make prepare the food fresh, right? And they can also clean the grill off so there's no cross contamination. So when we go places, a couple of things that we always have to consider. We always have to stay somewhere that has a full kitchen. Right, so we can't just go and get a room. We got to, if we get somewhere on a resort or we go into a hotel, we have to make sure it's a full suite that's going to have a full kitchen because we're going to be able to cook some of his meals as well. But then we also have to always look for like steak restaurants or things of that nature because when you go to a steak restaurant, more than likely you catch one where they don't marinate their meat. We can just order. We can just order a steak for him, just salt and pepper, nothing else on it. Don't put nothing else on the grill. Things of that nature, and if they can just boil the vegetables, so fresh vegetables, right? So one of the things that we always have to consider is that when we're traveling, and we're still able to travel because I know for different parents, for different reasons, their kids have different things. So a lot of these places are accommodated. Again, we were just in Mexico. The waiter who helped us on the first, or when we first got to our spot, they had a restaurant within the hotel. The dude who helped us when we first got there helped us the 5 days that we were there. Every time we went down there, and he remembered my son's allergies from that first day. So he made sure that they shut down whenever they need to shut down back there to cook his food, to make sure his food was cooked properly, period. And again, there's a language barrier, but we was able to communicate with him and he was able to understand, hey, these things are serious, these things are important. And we were able to enjoy our trip. My son was able to sit down at nice restaurants, eat, and enjoy. So I think that those are also things that sometimes get people in the way. A myth is, man, well, if I go to these places, I may need certain accommodations. Can they make my accommodations? Sometimes they can, sometimes they can't. But if you're worried about, call ahead. Even before you book with that place, call ahead if you're going to stay at a hotel or a resort. Hey, these are the accommodations I need. Can you book it? Or can you accommodate me? They may say yes. A lot of time, more than likely, they're going to say yes. But instead of not going, reach out, make the phone call, ask the question. Don't make the assumption.
That's important, though. Your wife diligent about that kind of stuff, bro. Your wife be on
Be on it.
she on
She ain't playing.
bro.
Come to her son, she ain't playing.
She
Nah,
is
she ain't
not
playing.
playing.
Hey,
She is
she a
not
black
playing.
woman with a son, so understand.
Yeah.
She ain't playing. Your kids is eating Doritos and they trying to play with my kid. They can't until they
do
wash
it.
their
They
hands.
had that cheese everywhere. They
You
had
gotta
that
have that
cheese
cheese.
everywhere.
People don't understand that. Like people don't understand if your kid and my kid is playing with each other. What do kids do when they play each other? They touch. They touch each other.
Yeah.
Well, your kid just ate Doritos or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a cheeseburger or something like that, and then they touch my kid, and all of a sudden he's going into anaphylactic shock. It, like I said, it ain't no just he's just gonna have an itchy throat. No,
I've seen it. I've seen it. I haven't seen it go to that bad, but I've seen it like he's in hives, like his eyes are getting tight, like his face is getting red, like he itching and scratching, like it's serious.
Yeah.
It's serious.
starts sneezing a lot. Like you could tell his immune system is saying, "Hey, something wrong, something's going on." And so again, it's things like that we have to be mindful of, even when we're traveling. We when we're when we go different places, you find other kids to play with. We hold on, Daniel, make sure they wash their hands if y'all gonna play with each other. If y'all gonna play ping pong or whatever y'all gonna play, where they gonna touch something that you touch, if they just eat, just make sure they wash their hands. And so thankfully with COVID, it helped parents realize the importance of forcing their kids to wash their hands. That helped.
And they ask. And they ask.
But it's little things like that people need to consider with traveling. So, man, those are some great places. Now, what are some resources before we jump out of here, son? What are some resources that you feel like
Keep
it's
going, let me
important
a
for people to
son,
have?
bro. That's not your son.
He's from New York.
Yeah. We get it.
York.
Yeah. He gonna be a New Yorker, so I get it. We said the question was, what's the resources I can give to?
What are some resources that you think people should utilize when traveling? We talked about Scott's flights. We talked about global TSA or TSA in general. We talked about credit cards and points. What are some other resources? I know you mentioned some others that people can go on to like look for rooms or look for cheap flights and things of that nature.
Yeah. So outside of lodging, as far as airfare, I'll start there. There's a site called Momondo, Momondo. This one is pretty cool because it got a particular feature where it's an anywhere feature. So it goes off your budget. So let's say you only have $400 and you go put the budget in for $400 and hit the button anywhere. It'll tell you anywhere in the world you can go with $400. So yeah, that's why I like it.
That's dope.
And that's, you give your time frame, like, hey, I want to go this month, this week, this month, this week, and it kind of traces the trends of the cost. So it'll give you like a good idea if that particular place that you want to go to is within range of your budget. Also, it does the same thing for lodging as well, but I think the best feature for it is for air flights. So Momondo is good for that. And as far as like lodging, and I'll bring it up because I'm a big advocate for it, is Airbnb. It's one gives you the best bang for your buck. Whether you want to stay at a place with a stove and oven, like Duane mentioned, or you want to do like a little quick studio to live like a high rise in Beijing, some forth. So also, I'll also add is if you want to do some domestic, the VRBO one is actually a good one here in the States. People tend to forget about that one, but it's also a good avenue to touch on whenever you're in the United States. When Airbnb is either out of reach, out of price, or it doesn't have availability in the area you want to go to.
So you find that it's a little bit cheaper when using VRBO?
Yeah, it can be sometimes, depending on your area that you want to go to. Yeah, I found some good deals on VRBO sometimes.
Are you?
It's like Lyft and Uber. You look and compare, because anytime I'm about to get a Lyft or Uber, I look at both. Sometimes it's like a $30 difference.
Yeah, that's a fact.
What about the Turo? Are you using Turo and things like that right now?
I did start doing Turo years ago. I stopped doing it because a guy smoked in my car and it pissed me off, and I was like, "Fuck that! I'm doing that shit again."
Not your car. You talking about as a renter, not
we know you bought you flipping and whipping, but we talking about have you actually utilized Turo for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I do it all the time when I'm traveling. I do the Turo. If I'm doing domestic, I do it.
You do that over.
I have you as a host as well too, though.
Will you choose Turo over rental cars, like rental car places, traditional ones?
If it's domestic, yes, all day.
Okay.
Yeah, all day. One, it gives two things. One, you get to a local, and locals, I'm pretty sure could use a lot more. And two, you tend to get a decent deal because you're not paying the airport tax. You're not paying the concession tax. I work for Enterprise, so I got all these little extra tax I used to put on people's bills. People look at like, what the hell is this? I pay for a car, not airport tax. Well, to a Turo, you ain't got to do all that, and you kind of get your bang for your buck with Turo as well. I had to use it, yeah, for sure.
Hey, I'm gonna say when I was in Beijing, I was 5-star. When I was in Hangzhou, 5-star.
Yeah,
and it was cheap though, like 100.
Yeah,
you know, it's like 100 American dollars. I mean, 100 American dollars. But we were saying, I'm just standing. That's it.
They got me in Beijing, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. They got me once in Beijing. When we first landed in Beijing, my wife and I were lost, right? Our phones was not working. Normally, my phone works international. T-Mobile works really, really well.
It do. I got T-Mobile.
T-Mobile, man. What it is. International travel, T-Mobile is what it is. Real talk. Not just to blow them out there, but they really, really work really well. However, in Beijing, it didn't do any good for me. So we in Beijing, we get off the flight. And normally my phone works, and we normally use the Google app, whatever, to get to our place before we don't do it. Trains or buses, what we're going to use. But in this case, we couldn't use it. So we looking around trying to find people to talk to. We're looking for millennials, because millennials usually the ones who can speak some English. You know what I mean? So we found these girls, and these girls was like, yeah, you got to go here. You probably have to take a bus or a train. Cool. We did that. We still couldn't find it. So we found this taxi driver. It was like, hey, my wife was smart enough to print out the directions in Mandarin before she left. Thank God. So she gave the guy the paper. He was like, oh, yeah, no problem. Come in. My mistake, what I normally do is always ask, how much is it going to be before I get in the car? Because therefore I have leverage. But once I get in the car and I don't ask that, now he has leverage. So that was my mistake. So I get in the car. He takes us literally a block over. And he's like, oh, we're here. And he was like, all right, $20 each. Hold on. $20 each. I'm not doing that. And my wife's kind of like shrugged my arm like, we're not in our land. We're not in our land. Like, they do things different here. Just give him the money. We got it. Just give it to him. But my pride was like, fuck no. He's ripping us off. Fuck that. But, like I said, when you go to a different country with your partner, your queen, or your wife, whoever it may be, you move different. Yeah. So
that means moving different means you got to cash out. It's what it means.
Cash out. Whatever's gonna make your car safe.
Exactly.
Yeah, cashing out.
Yeah, just take it. Because he didn't pop trunk. Because I'm thinking, like, cool, I need to pop trunk first. Nah. He was like, nah, give me the money first. He was smart. Give me the money first. Then he popped the trunk, gave me my stuff. But they got me in Beijing. Lesson learned. In Beijing. Lesson learned.
Well, I mean, you went to the.
But hey, you live and you learn. When you travel. Now I know. Ask the person first before you're in the car. You know what I'm saying? Always ask first how much it's going to cost before you get in the car on a foreign lane. Always. If you're doing a taxi, you do Airbnb, you get the cost up front. But if you're doing a taxi, you got to pay cash or debit card. Always ask up front because they make the prices up as they go sometimes.
Yeah. China, they got a little card like we got BART card. It's a little thing you can put, and you just keep using it like a BART card or whatever in the taxi or a train or a bus or whatever the hell it is. Any public transportation, they use that. So that's how that works.
Yeah.
You talk about making sure the queen's happy or she's safe. When we was in Mexico, we was in Cabos and what they had something going on. I guess the Uber and the taxi drivers are beefing, where the Uber drivers were making it hard for the taxi drivers to get people to where they needed to get to. They were blocking off the road, right? You know what I'm saying? And so we hopped in the taxi. The taxi about to take us back to our spot. And there's like this anytime I'm in an Uber, taxi, anywhere, I know where I'm supposed to go on a direction. So I got my Google Maps pulled up. And if you veer too far away from that, hey bro, where you going?
Yeah.
Hey, I can see where we're going. You can see the red, right? You can see the red. Well, the dude, he's impatient. He don't want to sit in the traffic literally, it's probably like a mile of traffic. But it seems to be, not standing. So he gets out of it and he's driving around looking for another way. And then he's he pulls up to one dude and he's telling the dude in like Spanish, like, hey, it's traffic. Can you explain to them that it's traffic? And I'm like, oh yeah, he get nervous. He don't want to take us. He's impatient. He don't want to take us. So then then my wife was like, no, just take us. So he did it again. He asked another person. Then I'm like, no, damn on that, bro. Just take us back. Take us back where you picked us up from. Because at this point, I understand my wife is trying to get to the spot, but dude don't want to take us anymore because he don't want us in the traffic. And we don't want him to drop us off anywhere. Once he gets frustrated, take us back where you picked us up from. No harm, no foul. Real good. We'll start from scratch, right? We'll start over, because again, in another situation, I'm like, nah, bro, we jumped in the taxi. You need to take us. But nah, I got the wife, I got the kid.
Right.
Nah, bro, just take us back to where you picked us up from. We good. Hey, por favor, we'll figure it out. So I think it's situations like that to where when you with the homies, it's probably you moving a little different. But when you with the family, like take us back where we good, and we figure out. We walked around a little longer, came back, tried it again. We was in traffic, but we made it. So it ended up working itself out. But man, bro, we appreciate having you on. Tell people again how they can find you and they can get more experience on how to travel, things of that nature. Tell them your platforms again.
Yeah, so Woodley Wanderers on YouTube, same thing on Instagram, same thing on Facebook. So again, Woodley Wanderers. On Instagram is Woodley_Wanderers, and on YouTube it's just Woodley Wanderers, one word.
Another plug, guys, he's a financial advisor, right?
Yeah.
So if you need any financial services, you need wills, you need 529s for your kids, you need 401ks for yourself, IRAs, you need any of those things. Obviously, you can see the man is smart with his own money, so then he can help you how to be smarter with your money. He got 2 Airbnbs in the back. He got some rooms that he upstairs. So obviously, what's the best financial advisor that you can have other than somebody who's maximizing and utilizing their money in the right way? So then tell them how they can find you on that end.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's j.woodley for my my regular business portfolio profile, j.woodley on Instagram. You can also just hit me up on my email, JamonWoodley@yahoo.com, or Synergy Financial /Jamon Woodley is my website.
All right, brother. Well, again, what'd you say?
Perfect.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. Kind of dream come true. I always watch y'all, through the lens, and y'all always doing y'all thing, man. Big fan, and I appreciate y'all actually inviting me to come on board, man. I really appreciate it. My wife does too. Appreciate that.
Look at Tab got his muscles out.
We're gonna have to edit this version because Tab has been dry. The whole episode is
he got his muscles out.
We got stuff going on next month. I got you to get ready. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what's up, Jamal. We appreciate you, bro. Yeah, tell your wife we said what's up. I ain't seen her since y'all was in an apartment building. When was that, Dewan?
That was
10 years or something.
When we was in you remember something when we was in West Hollywood?
We was in Hollywood, and your man's walked up on one of the people and thought it was another person.
You don't remember that? It's when y'all stayed in that those apartments.
This apartment
in K-Town,
correct? Yeah. Y'all stayed in
K-Town.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You remember his boy acting wild that day. Your man's is tripping.
Oh wow.
I
remember that.
That was a while ago.
He's tripping up.
That probably for sure was about 10 years ago.
It was about 10 years.
It was it was around the time you and Mo kind of first
because
y'all
had just went like to Jamaica, Dominica, something. Y'all swimming with the dolphins or something like on y'all like first trip or something like y'all did. It was way back. I think she might have been just like finishing the SC or something, but it was it was
nah. She wasn't even finished that. I think she had just started
at SC.
Her doctorate program.
Yeah, her doctorate. Yeah,
okay.
That was like I said. That was a while ago. That was a while ago.
I didn't even realize that she got her doctorate at USC.
No, got a doctorate in at Concordia. She did online, but she did undergrad and got her master's
at USC.
Oh yeah, shoot. I mean, I need to have my people tap in with your people. So
yeah. We down the block.
I'll be watching somewhere right now. See, there you go. Look how networking works. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, but Mo a K though.
Yeah, Mo's a K.
She a K.
Oh, that working out.
Tab. Oh, can I say that? Can I say?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, Tab's daughter is a Delta at USC.
Red.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can definitely say that because we legit around here. I don't know everybody else do. We better say shit. We legit. The rest of the world got going on these days. Right? Certified out here.
Copy that, bro.
But that's what's up. Hey, y'all, continue to watch us, follow us, like us on Instagram, Facebook. Check out the YouTube, like, subscribe, share with your friends at Braspective. We got a live episode coming to you guys in a couple of weeks that we're gonna shoot for you guys.
You gotta tear into that a little bit for them. It's
about to get ratchet. This is gonna be a ratchet episode, man.
A couple of pieces of content that we're gonna be putting out. Even if it's not live, y'all, we'll probably open up a live chat room and be right in there because we know it's gonna be fire. It's gonna be a lot of stuff coming on. We got content right now that we have developing that we haven't even shot yet. That's getting ready to come out, which is gonna be crazy. And none of our stuff is staged. It might be planned, like this is what we want to talk about, but what's gonna happen? What's getting ready to happen? Our season 3 is gonna be different. Like, I mean, and it really just goes to that if you have something you believe in, it ain't about 200, 500, 1 million followers. That'd be great. Because then I can go and tell them, I got to go. I'm quitting this job. But I'm just saying, until we get there, it just shows that the content that we putting out, if you believe in it, somebody else will believe in it. If you believe in the topics, then they worth the real conversations are having it. And just follow us, because I know for a fact what we got coming up is going to hit different, but it's just showing the growth. It's just showing the risk that we're willing to take, the type of opinions that we're willing to bring into the space of Braspective, because it's not really just all about us. We're a community. We're here for y'all. So if y'all got stuff y'all want to talk about with us, if y'all got topics, y'all want to come on here and challenge us, get ready, because what's going to be dropping now is going to make you want to click in more than you ever clicked in before.
For sure. And on that note, we out.
Okay.